All right, let's talk about your money. But more specifically, let's talk about the powerful AI, deep learning, that's quietly revolutionizing the entire world of finance behind the scenes. You know, it's happening way faster than most of us think, and it's already touching everything from massive stock trades to your own personal credit score.
Okay, Section 1, AI takes over finance. Let's really set the stage for this massive technological shift, because it's a big one.
And look, this isn't just some abstract, high-level Wall Street thing. I've got a question for you, a serious one. Is an AI already making decisions about your money? Well, the answer is almost definitely yes. And the scale of its influence? It's pretty staggering, to be honest.
I mean, to really get a feel for the momentum here, just think about this. Go back to 2013. You could literally count the research papers on this topic on one hand. Fast forward to just 2018, and that number skyrocketed to over 50 papers in that year alone. That isn't just growth, folks. That is a full-blown exponential takeover. It just goes to show you how seriously the financial world is taking this stuff.
Okay, next up, inside the AI black box. So what is this powerful tech, really? To get how AI is making these calls, we've got to peek inside what people call the black box and look at the key tools in the toolbox. Let's break down the two big ones.
First up, you've got something called recurrent neural networks, or RNNs for short. Now, the key thing to remember here, the absolute game changer, is that these models have memory. It's kind of like giving an AI a little notepad. As it looks at data one piece at a time, say daily stock prices, it can jot down notes about what it just saw. This ability to remember what came before makes them unbelievably good at spotting trends and patterns in financial data, which, is all about what happens over time. Then we have their cousins, convolutional neural networks, CNNs. Now these guys are the master pattern finders of the AI world. They got famous for being amazing at recognizing things in pictures, like cats on the internet. And right about now you're probably thinking, okay, hold on, what do pictures have to do with finance? And that is such a great question, because the answer shows just how clever this whole field is. Researchers came up with this brilliant trick. They figured out how to turn raw financial data into pictures. The CNN then gets to do what it does best, scan that picture and find these incredibly subtle, hidden patterns that no human eye could ever spot. It's basically finding new trading signals by turning numbers into art.
Right. So, deep learning in your wallet. We've got these super powerful tools. That's cool. But the big question is, how are they actually being used out there in the real world? Let's take a look at how this tech is hitting financial decisions, like right now, every single day.
So, no surprise, one of the biggest playgrounds for this stuff is algorithmic trading. And what's cool is that different AI models get used for very specific jobs. For instance, those CNNs we just talked about, the pattern finders, researchers are using them to literally look at stock chart data and generate buy or sell signals. And the LSTMs, those RNNs with the notepads, they're perfect for predicting tiny millisecond-level price movements in high-frequency data. Then you have other big complex neural networks trying to do the really hard stuff, like forecasting which way an entire index, like the S&P 500, is going to go. But hey, it's not all just about making the quick buck. It's also about managing risk. Deep learning is totally changing the game for how banks and lenders decide who gets a loan. I mean, get this. One study used a type of AI called a deep belief network and hit over 90% accuracy in predicting who would actually pay back their loan. That's huge. These models are just plowing through mountains of data, everything from your mortgage application to financial news headlines to figure out the risk of a default, or even to try and predict the next big banking crisis.
And of course, where there's money, there's crime. So naturally, AI has become this absolutely crucial weapon in that fight. See, deep learning models are masters at spotting the weird stuff. They learn what millions of normal transactions look like, creating this baseline for normal. Then the second something pops up that doesn't fit the pattern, boom, it gets flagged instantly. This is how they're catching everything from credit card fraud and money laundering to really complex insurance scams and tax evasion.
All right, so we've seen some really cool specific examples. Now let's pull back, zoom out, and look at the big picture. Mapping the DL finance landscape. Where is all this brainpower and research energy actually going? Well, the data gives us a really clear map of the whole field. Okay, the priorities are crystal clear. The two hottest topics, by a long shot, are algorithmic trading and something called financial text mining. Now, text mining is basically teaching an AI to read and understand human language. We're talking financial news, social media posts, analyst reports, all to figure out the market's mood or sentiment. So what does that tell us? It tells us the whole game is about using AI to do two things: react to the hard numbers and understand the human emotions that are driving those numbers in the first place. So, which tools are the most popular in the workshop? It's really no surprise at all that RNNs and LSTMs, yep, the models with memory, are the top choice. And that just makes perfect sense, right? Finance is all about time. It's about how things change from one moment to the next. So it's only natural that the models that can actually remember the past are going to be the best tools for trying to predict the future.
And this right here, this is what's pouring the fuel on the fire for this whole revolution. See, this isn't all happening in some secret lockdown corporate lab. No way. It's being driven by this incredible ecosystem of open source tools, things like Python, TensorFlow, and Keras. That means this cutting-edge tech is accessible to researchers and developers literally all over the globe.
So, where is all this headed? I mean, with this much progress in just a handful of years, let's talk about the future of money. Okay, so researchers are looking ahead, and they see these huge, still mostly untapped areas. Think about using AI in the wild west of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. That's a massive frontier right there. Or what about behavioral finance? We're talking about moving beyond just reading the news to actually trying to quantify investor psychology itself. And of course, as AI just gets faster and faster, its role in things like high-frequency trading and super complex derivatives, well, it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
And all of this leaves us with one last and pretty provocative question to think about. You see, this technology isn't just a fancy calculator anymore. It's not just a tool for analysis. It is becoming an active decision maker in our financial system. So as these AI models keep learning, keep growing, and become more and more autonomous, we really have to ask ourselves who, or maybe what, will really be in control of the global economy.